Well, welcome to this week's edition of Bolton In. All thanks to the friendly team at Palmerbet, of course. And don't forget that Punters Club, not too far away from dropping and going live too, which is really exciting. Download the Palmerbet app and get involved. And we've only got the one Group 1 up at Eagle Farm this weekend, which is the Oaks, which we're going to get to a little bit later on. But as I say, a very good afternoon, morning, evening, whatever it is. Shane Anderson, to you, it's early morning, mate. How are you, buddy?
Matty, good to be with you again, Adam, as well as you. And certainly been plenty of great racing actions and lots of things to talk about from the last weekend. But we are a little bit tighter for choice this week with just the one Group 1. But I think outside of the Group 1, the Oaks, there's plenty of good betting options in front of us.
I hope we've got more because we need some winners for the punters. Adam McGrath, as we say, good evening to you from Vegas. Big fella, how are you, mate?
I'm going well, Matty. I might be in Vegas, but I do know that this weekend is, we've got the big clash between Melbourne and Collingwood, which is the slides. But you might have the most famous slide this weekend, last weekend that we saw. Tell you what, you've gone viral with that. It's going to be hard to beat.
Oh, fair dinkum. And you blokes know exactly how live TV works. I was sitting at the back room, the earpiece kind of half dangling out. Then I heard, Matty, we're back on in 10 seconds. And I did the little V-bolt as quick as I could. I had about 25 metres to run. And it was very wet, slippery conditions at Hamilton. And all I was thinking about was, I've got to get up because there's going to be dead air here. There was no one else there. It had to be me to pick it up. So it was very funny. And to be honest, boys, I reckon I was stiff at that camera. Like normally the camera just points straight out, and the Hobbit going that way was just unlucky. But hell of a lot of fun. I think a few people got a good laugh out of it anyway, including you two gents.
Well, I won't be backing you on a soft track again.
Yeah, I was about to say something similar there, Adam. Not only do you struggle through the soft going, but I was concerned, Matty, because look, I'm the worst. Look, I'm never going to say anything about the age of a person, but you are in that sort of remit now where a little calf twitch or a hamstring twitch could stop you for weeks. So it was good to see that you got through it okay.
Hey, bad stuff quick. I think the old beat. Fair to say I've got a fair old I reckon that saved me, to be honest. Hey, let's have a look back at last week's racing, boys. I wish I win. You two blokes all over it too. Cracking edition of the Kingsford Smith Cup. Bella Nipotina was a huge run in secret. You boys all over I wish I win. Got out to got a touch 424.30 at one stage. Ridiculous price ads.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? I mean, even I remember Shane, that was the first thing he said was the price when we both previewed it, and we were both very happy to play at that. Thought I Wish I Win was the best horse in the race. I felt probably the last 5 runs he's been the best horse in the race, but just hasn't gone to plan. But again, well-executed plan. Good ride by Luke Nolan getting back in the saddle. And I'm looking forward to seeing where this horse continues to go throughout this campaign. Lightly raced, we've seen that, but they just continue to plot the path very nicely. And again, just has to be another shout out to Bella Nipotina. We've said it so many times. She is just so honest, just continues to run good race after good race and bank that money. So again, she was tremendous.
Shano, a few knockers. There's a few question marks over I Wish I Win. Sticking the neck out at the right time. I think all those knocks are gone now, surely.
Yeah, I think so. And the three of us, when we talked last week, we knew how much ability this horse has got, and it did look the right race for him in many ways. I know Adam and I were supremely confident about his chances in it. Again, look, he is just so honest. I think since he's arrived in Australia, he really has not put in a poor run throughout that period of time. Or there's been more about. I wouldn't necessarily say. What I'm trying to say is, the horse is genuine. Sometimes things have not gone to plan from a race map perspective or so on, but he's always really chasing and hitting the line supremely hard. He's just a fantastic horse. To Adam's point, I know you've both been fans of Bella Nipotina all the way through. Me, perhaps not so much. She's proven to me in the last couple of starts that she is an outstanding sprinting mare. She's now amassed over 10 million. That's remarkable. And the third mare, in secret, she was great. Back from a freshen up in the spring, and I hope we see her again in one of the other features up in Queensland over the next few weeks, whether it's the mares Group 1 at the end of the Carnival or she may go to the Stradbroke. But I thought it was a fantastic contest, really enjoyable race.
Hey, what about the Derby? Huge victory in the end to Warmonger. Ads, I know this was your value bet, and I think you might have cleaned up too with a couple of bets on the weekend, which is fantastic to see. But they went ridiculous, didn't they? And Navy King, poor old Craig Williams. I know speaking to Simon Wild and Billy Wild during the week, he was apologetic. He said, mate, as soon as that horse saw the gap and saw a bit of daylight, just wanted to go run. And he said, I just could not hold any longer. And for a fleeting moment, I kind of thought, hang on, we might have a little pride of Jenny moment here, but not to be. But probably did a good job, that horse, to be honest, to finish close enough as it is. But Warmonger was sensational, Ads.
Yeah, it was a really good win, wasn't it? It's not often, having even worked in South Australia, not often I look at a South Australian race to think the form's going to be really strong. But I did think that Derby was going to hold up. And we've seen some of those horses already go to Victoria and race really well. So I did think that for the $10, I thought it was a massive price. Obviously, the way the race played out, I think played even more into the hands of the winner, but another great ride, horses going well. And it is good to see these different form lines, not just the best Victorian stayers. You know, I know, of course, train there, but coming from the different paths going around Australia to race so well in South Australia and race well in Queensland, it was good to see.
Shano?
Yeah, congratulations to the winner. The race makes absolutely no sense to me. I cannot see how Warmonger has won that race by almost 10.5 lengths. I've been lucky enough with the horse we had to win a Queensland Derby, and sometimes the form can be a little bit iffy. Joked a few times with some people that you win that sort of race and you ended up with the kind of inflated rating to what your horse's actual ability is. So I think it's going to be very interesting where they go with Warmonger. Yes, he's won a Group 1 race by more than 10 lengths, so they're entitled to have a crack at the bigger races. I'm just not convinced that there's a lot of depth to how that race played out. I think he probably should have won the Derby, how everything sort of played out on the weekend. But a 10-length Derby winner, it's probably going to give him a rating that's going to make it very hard for him when he contests some of the bigger races in the spring if they go the handicap route. And I'm not convinced he's a weight for age horse. So good luck to them. They've won $1 million Group 1 race, and all credit to him. But yeah, I don't know what to do with that form. It's going to take me a little while. I really want to see it tested when we come back in the spring. I just think it's a flattered margin more than anything else, but a worthy winner of the race.
Righto, let's turn our attention to this weekend. It's the Queensland Oaks, the only Group 1 Eagle Farm race over the 2,200 metres. And the market, all thanks to Palmerbet, Scarlet Oak is the favourite at $3.60. Molly Bloom at $5. Ahuriri at $6. Mayor of Mount Buller at $9. Moonlight Magic $16. Miss Jolene at $17. Kind Words $20. And Good Banter at $21. Shane Anderson, I'm going to come back to you, mate. Get your thoughts on the Queensland Oaks.
Mate, I was going through this race and I came out with my selection, which is the best for the race, Molly Bloom, the Kiwi filly. And then it dawned on me, I think I've tipped Kiwi fillies in nearly every Group 1 staying race throughout now.
Been pretty good to you, though.
They have, but I'm just fascinated by it because it wasn't by design, it wasn't by intent. But when I was just going back through some of our selections that we put on the show, I realised, I've been very, very favourable to the Kiwi fillies, and I really like this one. Now she's trained by Lance O'Sullivan, Andrew Scott. She's had a couple of runs up in Queensland, and both have been fantastic. I thought the run first up in the Bracelet, the Sunshine Coast, heavy conditions. She didn't have a lot of luck in the run. She got held up on a couple of really, really critical stages of the race. She made up a lot of ground late to finish runner-up behind Amazonian Lass. I thought, back me next time. I want to be with you. So I did. She went to the Roses, and a run in that race I thought was outstanding. She was deep all the way through. She just seemed to be getting deeper and deeper and deeper in the run as the race unfolded, and she was still strong to the line. So from barrier number 10, look, she's a filly that tends to get back in the run. But if you go back through her previous form in New Zealand, where she's a dual Group 2 winner, she's got a lot of class about her. And I think this could be the race that she gets her redemption in many ways, and she can take the Group 1. So I'm very, very keen on number 1, Molly Bloom. My value bet is a filly that I've tipped previously on our show as a value bet, and that was during the Autumn Carnival in Sydney, and that was Mayor of Mount Buller. She's drawn well in barrier number 2. I really liked her run in the Roses. So I thought the way that she just kept working and working and working to the line was really solid. She also comes through the Bracelet. And she's just got fairly solid form all the way through her career. This daughter of Dundee, I think getting up to 2,200 metres ticks the boxes nicely for her. And I think she's a value in the race. So they're the two I'm the most keen on. Molly Bloom, the Kiwi filly, my best. Mare of Mount Buller for Waller as my value bet in the race. But should be a good contest.
Ads, your thoughts, buddy?
Yeah, look, I think it's a good race because I've got completely different horses to Shano, and they're coming from the same race. So I think that's what we want in these type of events: good betting races, good options, and we can all see different things. Yeah, exactly right. So look, I'm going to go with the favourite, and I tried to get a beat. I will add that I was not thinking or expecting to back Scarlet Oak in this, but just the more and more I watch, I'm always a big fan of backing horses after they've gone from a mile to 2,000 when they do that 400-metre step. It normally just really hardens them, and then you see an improved run again the next performance. So I'm just thinking now she's only going to be better because that was tough to see out that extra 400 metres going from a heavy 9 to a soft 6 as well. So I'm thinking natural improvement. And then I probably watched the last 200 metres 30 times with Mare of Mount Buller coming. And I just thought, you know what? I think if there had been more, Scarlet Oak just had its coverage. It just did enough, saw it finally late and just kept going. So I'm going to back her in. It's going to need a good ride from J-Mac being out wide, but I do think that extra fitness, and she's a winner from what we've seen already with 3 or 4. She's the one to beat. My value horses, I switched multiple times between Miss Jolene and Kind Words. I've ended up going with Kind Words. Ran the third fastest last 200 and was held up from basically the 800-metre mark the whole way through the line. And it just looked to be jumping over the top, big horse. And the one reason why I've gone this way over Miss Jolene is Mark Zara. Again, the barrier is horrible, but we saw every time we've done this podcast, basically, in these big races, Mark Zara just goes to a new level. So I'm backing him to overcome the draw. The horse has only won over 1,400 metres, never won on a good track, and there is sunshine to come. But I think he can run a big race. And I think Miss Jolene's a forgotten horse again. She's been forgotten so many times, and she was even wider than Molly Bloom and was behind it and went past it. So I think she's another big price as well. So I think there's value to be had everywhere. But for selection's sake, the favourite Scarlet Oak, the best bet, and Kind Words, the value bet.
Yeah, it's going to be a cracking race. Big, wide open affair, really, isn't it? I'm with you, Shane. Molly Bloom for mine. For everything that you said, exactly summed it up beautifully well for mine. And I reckon just the 2,200 metres and Blake Shin to give an absolute pearl of a ride. And a little bit of value for me. I'm going down the bottom one of Chris Waller's number 18 for Nash and Chris to combine at a big price Firestorm. Kind of been just kind of running around that 1,600, 1,800. I don't reckon they'd run if they didn't think that this horse could get the 2,200 metres, and a horse that's been working through the line nicely at a big price, $41 will do me at the value. What about the rest of the country? Ads, I'll come back to you, buddy. What else do you like, mate?
We'll head back out west and go to Belmont. We'll try to get the chocolates nice and early. Race 1, number 1, West Star. Daniel Morton had 3 horses in this race last time. Simon Miller had the 1 and Chris Parnham chose it, and he normally rides for Morton. Riding was on the wall. The horse came out and ran a sensational victory on that occasion. So I think it'll go back-to-back. Race 1, number 1, West Star. And then race 3, number 3, Burberry. It's won 3 from 6. Didn't really think much of the horse last campaign, but I really liked the trial the other day. Pikey in the saddle. I think they'll just be able to camp behind them, and there is still a little bit of soft track expected out there, and this horse gets through it nicely. So race 1, number 1, race 3, number 3 at Belmont.
Well, loving it. He's playing at home, Shane O. We like it when he gets back on the home deck. What about you, buddy?
Yeah, it's exciting me having a few from Adam over in the West. I've got a couple that I'm keen on at Eagle Farm and also one at Flemington, and they're all at reasonable prices too. So with Eagle Farm, race 6, number 14, I like Fortuna Each Way. I think we're going to get around that sort of $7.50 mark from the O'Day and Hoisted Yard. Mickey D takes a ride from a good barrier. Loved the first up run over 1,100 metres, was back and really finished the race off strongly. So step up to 1,200 metres for this really lightly raced, but very, very promising sprinter appeals. So Fortuna Each Way in race number 6. And a really big price in the final event at Eagle Farm. I like number 1, Jigsaw Each Way. Now, we're probably going to get around that sort of $21 to $23 mark. Good run at Caulfield last start, subsequently come out and won a jump out impressively. We know this horse has got a lot of ability, has contested a William Reid Stakes and was in the market on that occasion about just over 12 months ago. So I think Jigsaw can bring his best. He's going to be very, very well placed in this over the odds. And one more, Flemington, race 4, number 4, Berkshire Breeze, stepping up to the Stayers trip of 2,500 metres. Loved the win at Cranbourne from On Speed last start. I think he's got a future in Australia in these sort of staying races, and I'm pretty confident about his chances.
Oh, I love it. This is good this weekend. There might be mini Group 1s, but there might be a few other tips floating around by the sounds of this. I'm going back to Flemington, boys, on Saturday. Race 1, number 2 to kick us off to a fly. Jenny's Meadow was really good first up. I thought it was climbing over the top of them. Yeah, steps out to the 1,200 metres. Absolutely cherry ripe. I reckon this horse has got some ability. They took it up north first preparation, so I reckon this horse has got a heap of ability. Throw at the stumps. Race 3, number 2, La Zebra. About $41. I like this horse. Has won second up. Did enough first up for mine. Got a good barrier. I reckon it'll sit just behind the speed, and at some point in time, if the brakes go its way, I reckon it'll look the winner at some stage at a big price. I didn't think the field was overly strong, and I reckon it was a ridiculous price. And Swan Hill Friday. Hopefully this potty's dropped before then, boys, because it's the Elstrom Classic Swan Hill Cup weekend, of course, which is a huge weekend. One from the Beetroot Williams stable, race 4, number 6, in that Elstrom Classic. There's been some great horses come through that race, of course. It's a horse called Chink, debuted at May, come from the back of the field on a day that was just red hot leaders. Come from 12th on the turn and absolutely rocketed home. I know it was beaten a fair margin, ran third. Johnny Allen in the saddle is a good pointer and a good lead for mine. And I'm not too sure of the price, but I reckon Kachink might get the job done at Swan Hill in the Elstrom Classic. Boys, as I said, download that Palmer Bet app, get involved. And it's going to be a wonderful weekend of racing. Flemington, of course, is always a cracking little day. And as always, great to catch up with you two legends of the sport.
Always fun. Good luck betting, boys.
Good to be with you guys. Good luck.
Hey, love the orange number 2, Shane. It is absolutely. We haven't picked on that to start the show, but it looks magnificent.
I think he's making a stance. I think he wants more Palmer Bet gear. That's what I'm hearing.
Basically, I've got to put in a request because the shirt's damaged.
We'll have to get the jumpers. These jumpers, boys, are absolutely sensational. You'll like them. Hey, download that Palmer Bet app, and as we always say, gamble responsibly and think about what you're really gambling with. Boys, have a great week, and we'll talk next week with more racing. All thanks to Palmer Bet.
Think, is this a bet you really want to place? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.